Why is it acceptable for a lot of Americans to kick their kids out of home as soon as they turn 18?
Adult children living at home has been going up since the millennial generation. It's the highest it's been in 60 years.
I lived at home until 27. Once I had a full-time job, my parents only asked that I help around the house, and call them if I'm gonna be out late. Staying at home helped me save the money to purchase a house with my now wife.
Just to balance the scales a bit, I know people here in utopian Denmark who got kicked out when they were 18. Social safety net being better than most places, it is less harsh. But still.
My oldest kid turns 18 next month and I would never dream of making him move out. He is legit an awesome person, and I will be so sad when he decides to move, whenever that might be.
If you hang out around abusive parent subreddits, it's going to seem like a common thing that happens a lot, and it happens more than it should, but in the grand scheme of things it's a small percentage.
I think it's less a cultural thing and more the idea that Reddit is predominantly used by young Americans, and that people don't post about their parents being kind to them quite as often as the alternative. Confirmation bias. Reddit is very America-centric. I think it's less an issue. It's more of shitty parents who think they are only parents for 18 years and then rid of all responsibility.
Never kicked my kids out, nor did my parents. Have no idea why people would do that.
American here. This is not acceptable.
Given that the largest number of people under 35 live with their parents since the Depression, I think this isn't really true. Probably seems that way since it's a common story of post on Reddit.
I don't think it's as common as you think it is. Sure, it happens because it's legal and some.
It's not acceptable. Some parents are just assholes and never wanted kids to begin with. American culture is anti-family. Kids are a chore, older parents are a burden, etc.
Most people do not get kicked out at 18. That is not common at all. Many people choose to move out.
Keep in mind this is a white, and sometimes black, American thing. Recent, second and immigrant Americans think y'all are insane and shouldn't have kids if you're not okay with taking care of them when they need help.
For me and all of my friends, we want to leave as soon as possible. Makes everything easier.
My parents have been encouraging us to be as independent as we can. But we are 100% welcome to.
I don't think that happens in normal families, but of course people are more likely to tell a story.
This is a myth. Except for dysfunctional families, nobody gets kicked out at 18. Where did idea that this is common?
In my culture we stay with our parents for our whole lives even after marriage, and it's no problem at all.
My family is planning to let me live with them as long as I'm working or doing good in school. Seems reasonable.
Replace Americans with parents.
This thread is a reminder that not everyone should be allowed to be a parent. Brutal.
Because this country is a hellhole with twisted, fucked up principles and a rotting society.
My parents kicked me out because I was a financial burden to them and they weren't legally required to keep me around anymore.
It's not. You're reading exceptional stories on Reddit and thinking it represents normal life. It does not.
I'm so happy to see that people are realizing it's a different world now. We can't afford thing anymore. Plus, in other cultures it's 100% normal to live with your family. Perhaps an American thing. I'm not sure.
Americans are selfish assholes.
Why is it acceptable for a lot of Americans to kick their kids out of the home as soon as they know they are LGBTQ?
Sometimes we as parents have a kid that won't make any changes or steps in the right direction and they are backed into a corner and out of options. For me, I wish my parents would been far kinder for me.
It's not normal. Very few families do this.
I think Americans view kids as something they are supposed to do, not as something they want to do. I think most people have kids when they probably never truly wanted them in the first place.
My dad and his siblings had their stuff packed up and told to get out for their 16th birthday balloon.
I was suffering from then undiagnosed mental illnesses and was a total bummer to be around, so I got kicked out when I was 16. Felt like a total failure and disappointment for a long time, still climbing out of it. I'll get there.